Starting August 30th, top 12 teams battle it out. The winner of each day secures a grand final slot. And gradually, 13th to 17th ranked teams join the fray. That's 6 teams qualify. Week 6, last chance qualifier. 2-day matches on September 20th and 21st. 11 remaining teams. 18th ranked team face off. Only 6 will survive. That gives us 12 teams for the ultimate showdown. Grand final, October 5th. Welcome to Champion Rush Mode. The rules: get to 80 points first. Then, secure a booyah to take the crown. If no team gets a booyah after entering Champion Rush, the highest total points wins. The point system is simple. First place, 12 points. Second, 9. Third, 8. All the way down to 0 points for 11th and 12th. The battlefield is set. 12 teams, 1 final challenge. This is Champion Rush Mode. 1 strike can shift the game. 1 win can spark the rise. This is Free Fire World Series Battle Royale Mode. Garena. for intense close quarters combat. This is the Free Fire World Series SEA 2025 Fall Clash Squad Mode. A total prize pool of $100,000 is on the line. The champion takes home $30,000, with $15,000 for second, $10,000 each for third and fourth, and $3,000 for the final MVP. Map pool, best of 3, Bermuda, Kalahari, Nextera. Best of 5, add Purgatory and Solera to the fight. Ban pick system. A random draw decides which team bans and picks first. Ban phase. One team bans one active skill, then the other team does the same. Pick phase. First team picks one skill. Opponent picks 2. First team picks 2 more. Opponent picks 2. First team picks the final skill. Note that each player must use a different active skill. Ban pick order alternates across games, randomized if needed. Tournament timeline. Swiss stage, 28th August to 12th September. Double elimination, 18th to 19th September. Grand final, 4th October 2025. But how do teams get here? To qualify for Clash Squad Mode, teams must place top 16 by the end of Week 2 in Battle Royale Knockout stage. Here's how it works. Each team plays against others with the same win-loss record. In round 1, all teams start at 0-0. They're randomly paired. Winners move to 1-0, losers drop to 0-1. From there, teams continue facing opponents with the same record. 1-0 versus 1-0. 0-1 versus 0-1. 2-0 versus 2-0, and so on. To advance, a team must get 3 wins before they lose 3 times. Lose 3 matches, you're eliminated from the Clash Squad Mode. Matches continue round by round until exactly 8 teams reach 3 wins. Those 8 teams move on to the double elimination round. Double elimination format. Every team starts in the upper bracket. Lose once, drop to lower bracket. Lose twice, you're out. Through 3 intense rounds, winners rise, losers fall, until one team punches their ticket to the grand final. The other finalists will emerge from the semi-final bracket, and then it's all on the line. The last showdown decides the Clash Squad champion of Free Fire World Series SEA 2025 Fall. This is where every skill, every pick, every round matters. Where legends aren't born, they're built under pressure. In this format, any team can strike, any team can rock. Gorilla.
สวัสดีผมดูเองมันไม่เป็นเหรอวะคะแนนเท่ากันก็ต้องวัดดูยากใช่ไหม
học xà mới chứ đâu không
What is up, survivors? It's week 5, day 2 of the knockout stage for the Free Fire World Series Southeast Asia 2025 Fall Edition for the Battle Royale mode. It's Stanley, as well as the Mustachio. AJ, we're going to be your casters for today, and today is a very crucial day, survivors, because it is our last day for knockouts. Because following this day, next week is our last chance for our teams to qualify, and it's the last chance qualifier. Now, yes, there are a lot of slots to go around next week, but you kind of don't want to leave your chances to qualifying next week if you can help it. But AJ, how you doing? Should be some super exciting matches today.
Absolutely. I mean, we were obviously all looking at our underdogs, right? Because here in phase 2, week after week, yes, we do kick off the action, and before we get deeper into the action, a little bit of extra zest that you see out of there on the players, especially from the side of Vietnam, it's because of the secret recipe right down there at the bottom. Our sponsors, and if you didn't know, Red Bull Zinc and Vitamin from Thailand is supplemented from Zinc B3 as well as B6, featuring a mild taste that helps players stay highly focused and seize every opportunity to achieve stylish booyah victories. And that's exactly what we saw one of our underdogs do that was on it. They got introduced last week. They had a day of play yesterday, and then boom, fantastically have managed to qualify. In that same fashion, I'm expecting Expand to dance out there.
I think not just Expand, I know yesterday we also introduced Kagendra into the pool, and they did remarkably well. So I think both of us have got our eyes on some of the newer teams, or not really new teams, but our latecomers into the competition. We do have our top 3 rankings, our predictions for today, and I mean, AJ, you're rocking the Expand flag, I'm rocking Kagendra, but we also have some old faces. I mean, EVOS, I think it's really hard for us not to put EVOS as our prediction. They were so close yesterday, but they fell short at the worst round possible.
Yeah, I don't know if that's good news or not, but I know it's horrible news for the teams that are vying for that final week where it's going to be easy. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be that easy right now. But of course, this is what you're looking at in the knockout stage, and this is what we're currently going through. This is phase 2, where through 3 weeks, each and every single day of play, the top team gets to move on to the grand finals. And then the final chance, the last chance, is on week 6, where obviously the top 6 will join the 6 that have already moved on in the grand finals. And if we do happen to drop on a situation where we need to call forth on the tiebreaker, this are the breaks in the pulling order.
Yeah, so we're going to start with booyahs, followed by eliminations, and then the final round is going to be all on survival ranks, which we're going to have to pay attention to what that final map is going to be today, because certain, as we said yesterday, certain teams are going to be hoping certain maps are going to be that very last map, assuming things go that far, because it is the 3rd win condition if we have tied the previous 2. And as always, we do have our extremely fun one unique active skill rule set in play as well. And AJ, I've been loving this because we've seen so much more diversity in competitive free fire this season.
Yeah, diversity as well as a lot of shock factor that this has brought into the competition, because now many of the teams out there, they're on the equal playing ground, right? Because you don't have 4 monstrous players out there who can do the same thing, which is go out and get a few eliminations. Now you kind of need to play a role, and you really need to hard stick to your role. You need to be really careful with the kind of roles you play out there as well in terms of combination, and that's going to come in very handy, because all this is practice for the grand finals where we play the champion rush condition, and you guys by now know exactly how that works.
Oh yeah, if you didn't tune into EWC, we do recommend you go back and watch the finals. That was absolutely insane, but if you've seen it, then you guys know the gist. I think we're expecting something. I don't know if we're going to get the same level of hype, but I do expect the competition to be extremely fierce. Now, speaking of competition, these are our teams playing today, and if anyone is missing from that lineup, it's because they've already qualified. So you don't have to worry about them if they're not there. Let's focus on who is currently here. We have RRQ, Heavy, Kage, and WAG for our first 4 teams highlighted here, followed up by Flash, EVOS, PE Sports, and Expand. And we're going to be coming into our last page in just a second. Just a heads up as well, folks, we are showing 5 players in the rosters, because throughout the play day, certain teams may want to substitute players in and out. So they do have options in case maybe someone's not feeling well, or maybe for a tactical advantage. And here's our last page: AJ, GOW, Todak, Bigatron, and Virtus Pro.
Yeah, out of all of the teams flashed thus far, the least concerning team out there for the rest of the competition is technically right? They haven't really been able to prove themselves in Clash Squad. They haven't really proven themselves in Battle Royale. They did have one solid good day in the knockout stage, but that's really nothing to flex, because can they do it when it matters most? Can they do it today? Because if you can pull it off today, there's a possibility you might be able to do it on our grand finals day as well, that the champion recognition is in there. And if maybe not become champion, we know you are definitely going to be a huge threat, a huge noise maker in the grand finals that we can look forward to.
Yeah. Now, speaking of Expand, I think I also brought up the same point for Kagendra yesterday. Expand coming into the knockouts so late. They have plenty of weeks of data to sort of refer back to see how all the other teams are currently playing, where are currently the hotspots, where are teams really vying for positions on certain maps. And I think the most important one as well is seeing how people manage with Solara, because for a lot of teams, they are still struggling to get their footing on that map. So any kind of advantage that you can pull out from those mods, I hope Expand have capitalized on them as much as possible.
Yeah, and it also depends on who's their coach, who's their mentor, who they're actually going to listen to, because you can feed these players, you can feed these teams with a lot of information by having a decent analyst, but if the players don't listen to their coaches, it's going to be a whole other world of problems, which we have seen be an issue for some of the squads out there, right? And then we've seen the exact opposite when teams are in absolute sync with their coaches, with absolute sync with all of the analysts. The way they move out there on the battlefield just so different, and their success can be replicated over and over again because of their homework that's been put in, not just because of the homework part, but because of the execution out there as well, right? I mean, at some point of time, these players need to grow in that direction as well, because clearly the teams that have chosen to do something like that have found a lot of success. Look at RRQ. I mean, all of that practice and, some weeks of testing in the past seasons have brought them to what they, I mean, it may not show right now, they haven't qualified, but we know exactly what they're holding back there.
Yeah, I'm not sure, AJ. I mean, going back into RRQ, yesterday the team just looked all over the place. It was very difficult to watch. How dare I'm speaking on, so I might sound very harsh, but there is a place I hold in my heart very near and dear for RRQ, because
it's very small and
you don't get to dictate how much of my heart is dedicated to it.
They got top 3. How much more do you need out of them?
We need to win, okay? That is the heart of a winner.
Okay.
Winning is everything. So, yeah, I'd love to see a little bit of light shining through from RRQ. It might be difficult today, I feel, because obviously one of their largest rivals, EVOS, is still currently in the competition. And something I'd love to bring up here actually is that certain teams, they might be really great, but it's kind of funny seeing the regional interaction. I think we've seen it many times, by the way, where it's coming down to the final last 1 to 2 circles, and then you start to see those last skirmishes, and a lot of the teams from similar regions love to take the same spots, and you see these inter-regional clashes as they get deeper and deeper in. You always see Indonesia versus Indonesia, Thailand versus Thailand, and sometimes I feel like this sets the regions back. Not to say they shouldn't do this, okay, because you need to play to win, but it's just very interesting that sometimes you have these teams from the same regions going up against one another, and we know EVOS is strong, but if you're having your training partner in that last 1 to 2 circle and you have to deal with them, like, they have a really good chance of taking you out because they know you.
Okay, can we talk about this as well?
The jumping jacks.
I mean, jumping jack 10 times, wearing the loser headband. I think we've dropped the ball on these punishments. The punishments used to be really fun. Now I'm just like, okay, all right, I'll wait for it. I am not satisfied with just headbands, and I want the production team to know this. I want more. The next thing you know, Danny, they're getting us involved with this as well.
Well, I don't get it. How do we lose in this? We're not competing.
It's like that one time Yunsu put on the headband as well.
Yeah, okay, sure. But I will make one complaint about the headband, okay?
Yep.
I've seen some of the players do this. They use their hair and they'll cover the loser part on the headband.
Hey,
yeah, I saw that yesterday.
You gotta play it smart. I mean, 10 points for IQ play there. And it's going to be map number 1, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It is going to be Solara. And this is where usually we expect Buriram to dance and play. But they've qualified already. So we get to focus down on teams like WAG, Heavy, as well as Bigatron.
Yeah, so there was a lot of expectations yesterday on Bigatron to perform, but they fell a little bit short. So maybe today is going to be the redemption arc for them because, it was a very disappointing performance for Bigatron, especially when at one point, they were crowned the kings of Solara. So kind of surprising to see them sort of fall short on one of their signature maps. But maybe they'll prove us wrong now. They say, oh, yesterday was just a minor mishap.
With a P90, this guy is from that sort of a distance. He's just a hopeful sprayer, You don't even need to pray because you know you're not going to hit it like that. But Kyung's just being cheeky, thought he could get lucky. Who knows, the other guy hasn't picked up a helmet just yet. And sometimes, you just walk away with games like that. But of course, the P90, not going to be the most helpful in a situation like that. And speaking of which, I wanted to highlight Virtus Pro. They're the only Thai squad that has not qualified for the grand finals yet.
Yeah, they haven't qualified. To be fair, yesterday they didn't look that great either. I'm not sure if it was just a case of it not really being their day, but yeah, I think a lot of people were sort of surprised because VP did reasonably well during Clash Squad. They very, very strong teams in those engagements, but it just seems like they haven't really managed to find their footing in Battle Royale yet. Today's another opportunity, right? So still plenty of times to try and get it. Speaking of times to grab those elims, nice elim there from LBT catching out Demon, who was just on his own, bit of a scouting mission, but crucial information there for GOW now.
Yeah, usually you expect a flying Demon, but that was a flying LBT and a crushed Demon. Fortunate for that guy, he was all alone, and well, LBT didn't even need his backup. The Trogon alone was able to secure that, but now Kagendra looking for a team that does fairly well on Solara Heavy with just one straggler, but it looks like they are going to be able to find a long-range connection here. Alan has paused his stride as well. AC-80 in hand, fights the tag, and it's teamwork, baby. Easy for Dead. Beautiful knockdown.
Yeah, that was quite easy to make Alan dead there. So well done there for Dead. Nice little point. Easy point as well. Just to point out as well, actually, for yesterday, Heavy was the first team to secure Abuya with a total score of 35, AJ. I don't think everyone's going to be expecting the same scoreline from Heavy, but I think definitely going to be a few extra eyeballs on this team in case they do perform like that again. Speaking of performing, Ken did perform on Hong M. Can't quite get it. Sometimes every shot you don't take is every shot you miss.
Oh, beautifully connected there with this. As the M590 in hand, and annoyingly, the players of Flash right on top.
There we go.
Advantage at the right time there with the VSK. 18 Dia though, no defense for him, ripped down by the Riptide Rhythm, but Death just could not finish it off in time. Pulls out the VSK again, but pressure from the back. 18 Dia with a Mag 7 continues to bring on the Thunder, and they knock yet another player down to the ground.
Oh, and that's going to be our first team eliminated, AJ. So Flash is out of the running for our first game. Very unfortunate, as they would have loved to have done better today, but so someone's got to go down first. Now, speaking of the next team to potentially go down, it could be Kage or GOW, as both teams are found here at Riders Club.
Let's see how they play this one out. Ice Grenade first, just to push them away from the door. Smartly done. But they've got the Coda popped as well, so they clearly see the movement coming along from the side of Kagendra. Easy for Ref with the Trogon. Looking for the wraparound, but Demon is just in that perfect spot. Has the FGL in hand. But CT7 from afar finds the end. That's the opener for Kagendra as they push on in. Looking for one, and it is the Oscars. Valiant dash through all of those glue walls. Demon with the comeback as well, but it's going to get quickly outnumbered by the rest of the Kagendra players as Raz now steps into the CQC.
Yeah, Raz joining in, although he did manage to spot out a player on the rooftop. Akoi trying to fly off. Oh, but he gets shot down. CT7.
Well
Shooting
done.
ducks.
I mean, played very well by the boys, and of course, the opponents just could not pull in those revives quick enough, and WAG might just be the final nail on the coffin here for their friends from Vietnam, as the players have perfect vantage point to spot out this GOW player. but it looks like they are not going in for the hit at all. Nope, Dien has been spotted out. PLS1, the worst player to be spotted out by. Easy pull on that AC-80.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of bounties being placed on players' heads, and you can see the priority for some of the teams. At the moment, it hasn't really been a focus on one team. I do want to sort of point out at the beginning, AJ, Expand already sort of throwing those bounties at their brothers in arms, Todak, which I thought was very, very funny, as this is their first play day for the knockouts.
I mean, you could buy it on a very aggressive play, but, you know, Expand could have also bought it because they want to play chicken for a while. They want to use that to avoid any bit of competition very early on from the people that are in their compound so that they can loot up, because a early start Expand is never a good Expand. We've never been able to see them kind of expand their dominance into that final circle. Always heavy fire early where they go out for the hunt. Initially, we saw them hunting down Magna in the group stages, and then well, it died away very quickly for a reason.
Well, that's what happens when you don't adapt, it seems. But we are getting quite congested around here, which is quite surprising. The EVOS right next to Bigatron Vitality, and keep in mind as well, folks, Bigatron, they do rather well on this map, but if they do get knocked out by EVOS, it kind of opens the doors for someone else to take the crown here.
Yeah.
And WAG on the rooftop, Kage's on the ground floor. Okay, I mean, it's nice to work with all this high ground vantage point, but
Yeah.
I don't think they're really in a great spot to try and fight into this. If anything, are they really thinking of committing here? Oh, that circle, beautiful. All right, WAG and Kage, they can sort of sit here and wait now.
Yeah, that answered your question real quick. So the problem is, it's a great vantage point. Many other teams may want it as well. So we could just see a couple of jump pads being set up to send a couple of extra pressure that WAG is not expecting in a situation like this. If that happens, I think Agendra can take advantage real quick. But Toda up against RRQ, and RRQ the one fighting the dust at this point of time. And India could not get away as well. On a good day, even Toda fights its prey.
Yeah, Ma'al, last man standing, and versus 4, you know, the odds are not looking too good here for Ma'al. And as great as he is, up against 4 players, I think that the task of him trying to knock all of them out would be rather impossible unless some pretty horrible mistakes were made. I mean, just hiding behind the lighthouse. All right, Ma'al, what's the play? All right, Faiz, he did throw a shot at him. And it looks like Ma'al losing half of his health there. Yeah, this is an inevitable death. And RRQ, 11th place, just off to a terrible start today.
I mean, I'm not surprised, but I am surprised as to who got the elimination on them very quick with the execution as well. Toda, right place, right time. Also, right follow-up with the initial pressure. They didn't back away. They didn't allow Ma'al to get away with that, pulling those revives again. So, great execution by the Malaysian squad. Now, can we see yet another Malaysian team perform well here with that high ground advantage expand? They see the movements of the players of GOW. They are both chasing the circle. Expand's not really in the best of spots.
Yeah, I mean, Luki, he is on the high ground, but their team's kind of hesitating, deciding that they want to fight. They do reveal themselves, though. Unfortunately, not really going to do anything with that shot yet. So, Expand. I wonder how creative they're going to have to get to try and find a safe way into that next circle, because they're going to be expecting some company if they go in the same direction as GOW.
Yeah, I think they want some company. These boys are definitely hungry for points, and they've looted up decently well. They can take one good team fight, and that might just break out in a little bit. But we'll catch up with Kagendra and WAG, and it looks like the standoff is still on. Nobody's gone for their vantage point just yet. I think the circle is just a little bit too big, and you can see the anticipation by the players on the map already as to where this next circle is going to go. Does Toda get wildly lucky, or does doing your homework pay off here?
Oh no, okay, so homework
hi.
is clearly not done by some people, as a CT7 going to be chopped down. And WAG, I mean, they have that high vantage point still, but they're going to have to move But Kagendra, they're waiting for them on the ground. I don't know how safely they'll be able to get down there. Akoi, though, unfortunately, is caught by Heavy. So it looks like Heavy's starting to bring that firepower in as they head their way into that circle. And GOW, I don't know how they're going to cut through Heavy, especially with how bloodthirsty bloodthirsty this team was yesterday.
They do it through Virtus Pro. Virtus Pro looking for the wrap around into the next circle as well. They'll have to get through Vitality, but first scanned out by Heavy. All four of them caught with their pants down. And Heavy knows exactly what to do, but the connection's just not there for Don't Cry.
And GOW absolutely abandoned ship as well. They say, all right, you two can fight this all together. Heavy, though, they still have their entire roster. So Virtus Pro, they've got to finish someone off. Otherwise, this will be a terrible fight for them, as both teams seem to have managed to find their footing in this fight. And Don't Cry's in position to start things for the team if they do decide to go for a full commitment. But Don't Cry, very, very low. And Diamond pushing forward for the team. Oh, but that beautiful snipe in the back, Exposy, caught by Kabi.
He was looking for that monster nade. Alan just couldn't find it just yet. Now getting down and dirty with the Trogon. Finds the backs of 3 players. Gets his own blue wall. Smashed down and Nameless with the connection on the M590. Don't Cry. Try to save the squad. Finds one. And that's a crucial one, but gets knocked down and wrapped up by Warania, the final survivor on his feet there for the side of Virtus Pro. Saving the day. Able to pick up 2 of his brothers as well.
Very, very close, but we do have a certain victor. And now our next fight, we have Rama going down to Dion, who managed to finish him off from GOW. So a few teams, a few players sort of still congregating around Riders Club. None of them leaving yet, as Dion caught by Please 1, and Easy for Dead actually finishing off and grabbing that elimination for themselves. Now it looks like Expand stuck in the same compound here as Cargate. And look at that, Cargate rushing in, and Too Fast already on the ground. Way too fast, and Vault next one to follow. Kagendra up to 6 eliminations.
The possibility
Now
of that valiant dash to just dismantle your confidence in an instant, as it shocks you, it stuns you. It got Expand at that point of time. Kagendra walking away. And we all saw how good they were at Clash Squad, so that was no surprise at all in that 2v2 fight. Now, PE Sports getting this next circle. They don't have to move, and everybody else is going to come rushing at them. It's all about the timing here. We've got 20 seconds before the next circle moves.
20 seconds, and
Nicely
how
done.
quickly can these teams get in WG? All right, they're going to send Mambo first. Just making sure in case anything goes sideways, they still have the time turner. So really nice entry point there for WAG. They've got a boulder to hide behind. They've just got to worry about their 6 o'clock now and make sure that they don't get sniped in the backside. As we now switch on over to EVOS, who have found a little hidey hole for themselves, but they do have to be a little cautious of some of the other Indonesian teams. I believe Bigatron was one of their neighbors, and Demon from GOW. Someone's trying to tap his head. They can't quite get the angle yet, but Todak, though, actually catching out a couple of EVOS players on the other side of the map, it seems.
Ref managed to go in for their long wraparound, but PLS1 fighting. The final player on the side of GOW taking them out in the 8th spot. EVOS gonna have some rotation problems here. They haven't gotten into the next safe zone, and the blue is hot behind them. They're trying to put on pressure onto the Bigatron players, but it is Stoda that takes advantage from inside the circle.
And looks like, nice little consolation there. Coach Shield finishing off Raf as he was dropped to the ground. EVOS, though, still running in with 3 men. Kojo from Bigatron, though, is down on the ground as they have fallen into a bit of a skirmish here against Todak. And so far, Todak looking really strong today, AJ. Up to 9 eliminations in our first match.
I mean, monstrous play by Toda. What has gotten into these boys? Now, you gotta wish you saw that every single day from the Malaysian squads. But my, oh my, on a performance indeed. 6th spot, Kagendra, they booked their ticket out of here. WAG up against PE Sports. Deep in this map, we've got a all-out Vietnamese battle, and the 1v1 trade. Nolan dropping T Kui and him doing the exact opposite, but in 3v4 as PE Sports picks up all of those players. Vanvo turns his back at the wrong time, but saved by his brother's glue wall. But now cannot be saved anymore. Distracted by Diamond. PE Sports still has their wits about them.
They take out WAG, but on the sidelines, EVOS threw in a glue wall melter and blew the entire team wide open. So EVOS are now looking to finish off Todak here, but you can see on the other side as well, we do have PE looking to stick their nose into someone else's business, and Todak are still surviving. They've got a player on the ground. Kuchil bleeds out. It's just Rasia left here for EVOS, and actually Diamond, the last player VP, also still standing. So we do have a couple of sole survivors left, but look at how claustrophobic the circle is. We have numerous teams staying by Rasia trying to go to the other side. Super low, he goes down to Vindles.
I mean, amazing play here from Toda so far. 11 eliminations, unbelievable performance. And now down at the bottom, PE Sports hanging on for the dear lives. Jonah has got the deadly weapon, the M79 in hand, but they cannot smash through the time turner as well. Pulled out very smartly here from the Toda players as they now finally circle on in. How many time turners do they even hold? PE Sports could not hang on against the Malaysians this time round.
Oh my gosh, what a round by Todak. All they need to do is to finish off Diamond here. They've got to be careful. Noki's on the ground. Diamond's still juking. His health is slowly waning, but does he have the firepower? Not quite enough. What a round for Todak, AJ.
Wow.
You were going in the right direction, by cheering for a Malaysian squad field.
Yeah, they got pissed off.
You picked the wrong one.
Yeah, they got pissed off. They're like, how? Wait a minute. You chose the Malaysian team, but you chose Expand? What the? Looks like I gotta do this more often.
Yeah, light a fire behind them.
Yeah, but great plays though. I mean, really solid stuff out of Fights, especially 7 eliminations strong. Man was rocking this AWM like he owned it. And a very, very rare Malaysian booyah, and not a small one.
And also, I feel like a very rare performance from Todak, as in, generally speaking, this team, they have their moments where they love to get a little aggro. They like to force a couple of skirmishes, but I feel like in this round in particular, they were forcing skirmishes back to back to back to back. They make a rotation, there's a team there, they go right into a fight, they don't wait. And I just felt like every single time it paid off for them, because a lot of teams really weren't anticipating any of those fights to begin with. So Todak, just this outrageous confidence that they have for game number 1, keep this up, please, okay? Because we would love for you guys to get that spot today. It's just game 1, okay? Please don't tell me that was all that you had, please.
I mean, I just want to know if or not they got the information early on that they just wiped out RRQ, that they just wiped the floor with RRQ. If that information was somehow fed to the Toda players, I totally understand the performance, because it was a breakout run here. I would love to see some consistency out of Malaysia. I would love to see a lot of consistency out of Toda. But that was one match where I really feel they got the info that, guys, you just wiped out RRQ. Keep going. Someone, could have shouted in the studio, and they just went berserk, because they wrapped up really well as well. I mean, we kind of saw some standoffs, some skirmishes between teams that weren't going anywhere, but Toda fought through this lobby.
Look, I want them to fight through more lobbies, This is a ray of hope for the region, because for a lot of esports, all it takes for a region to suddenly become competitive is to have that one standout team, that one standout player that becomes that beacon of light, and everyone starts chasing after that beacon. And if Todak can be that team, I think Malaysia has the potential to be on the same wave like this. Just like Indonesia, I think Vietnam is a great example of this. For the longest time, it was Thailand and Indonesia that was rocking the top teams, and Vietnam slowly made their way through. They have multiple players. Eventually, they have multiple teams that sort of became those beacons, and the region just got better together. Right? Regionally, they collectively got better, and look at where Vietnam is now.
Yeah, I think the throne has been sitting quite empty for a while. I mean, yeah, we kind of do have some competitions in Malaysia to show you which is your number 1 ranked team, but we haven't really had someone carry the flag consistently yet. Expand was doing it for a while. Maybe now is a time for Toda, but let's see what else they can bring in the next few games. But for now, what they brought to the table, 7 eliminations through Fights, 2,537 on the damage, rocking a full sniper setup here with the active and passives.
Yeah, Fights This man, I think we learnt a lot through Clash Squad. I know Husky and I brought a lot of Clash Squad up yesterday, but I think the really cool thing about the game mode is we also learnt a lot more about the teams individually and who the teams like to lean on, who does a lot of the heavy lifting, who does a lot of the support work. And Faiz, he is an absolute superstar on the team. I kind of feel like Todak, without Faiz, it doesn't feel like Todak's in the game. So for him to get MVP this round, absolutely deserved. I hope Todak realise how lucky they are to have someone like him on the roster who can achieve so much on his own.
Yeah, totally right. And let's look at the overall number of eliminations here as well. A total of 14 for this Malaysian squad. A rare situation indeed. And these were no small teams that they took down on the way up as well. They knocked out RRQ, who were fairly ready for a 4v4 battle. Nobody expected to see what they saw there, and I think, the moment they put RRQ on the back foot and they just figured, look, we are well equipped to take this fight all the way, these guys just went berserk. Let's take a look and see if we can find anything else in their artillery here that kind of gives them that confidence to go all out. You see Noki and Traps, they are both running that fort. They both have Joseph. You've got Nairi as well, and you've got the Diva on the side of Traps in case anything goes wrong. A very quick pickup coming on through. Chrono to help him out as well on those pickups. Toda was just ready to fight in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely thought we saw so many Todak fights. But here are the standings for our game number 1 here, ladies and gentlemen. So Todak securing our first booyah of the day, and they're going to be kickstarting the day with 26 points, putting them 10 points over our second place team, which is PE Sports, who managed to pick up 16. Following PE, we have Virtus Pro with 15, 12 for Kage, 12 for WAG, 11 for EVOS, and then we do have single-digit points for the remaining teams. So not too top-heavy, which is good news for our remaining competitors because there's definitely room for teams to catch up in games 2 and 3. It's not a case like yesterday where you had Heavy with an enormous lead over the competition and teams had to fight really hard in game 2 to sort of close that gap. So for Todak, the dream of them qualifying today, I think just with this booyah alone, it is making it more realistic, but also through a realistic point of view, I think they still have a lot of work to do, right? They still have a lot of teams that they have to chew through, and they have to somehow survive a few maps which we know that they're not going to be feeling too confident playing.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, this is what the competition offers as of this point of time. You just need one damn good day. You just need one day where Lady Luck is just smiling at your whole squad and saying everything's gonna be all right. And if Toda could just have this as their day, it would be a really good souvenir to carry into the grand finals later on. Obviously, they qualify if they do really, really well and they get that number 1 spot. But can they do the same thing again at the grand finals? Lightning doesn't. Well, it's not like it won't at all, but it rarely hits the same spot twice, right? So maybe if they want to pull in some sort of a manifestation, they should do it for the grand finals.
Yeah, I kind of hope if we do see the player camps at Todak, we start seeing them sort of meditating together, start manifesting that next win going into game number 2. But we'll have to see, I kind of wonder, just for Todak, great, you've won that first game, but now I wonder, what are they currently talking about going into game 2? Because the obvious thing is you kind of say is all right, guys, we've got to do that again. How? How can you pull that off again? Because every game is different. You may not get as lucky as you did in that previous round. I mean, if Todak are able to pull it into game 2 and 3, a similar performance, I think my hopes in this team will definitely rise with them. But I do have my reservations because we also have a lot of very capable teams in this lobby that can also cut them down after that first game.
Yeah, you're thinking of Toda trying to figure out how can they keep this up, and you've got Expand on the other end trying to figure out, wait a minute, how did you do that? I want to do it too. So, yeah, I mean, if they can, we can, right? I'm sure, of course.
I want to have what he's having.
And the other teams are kind of trying to figure that out as well. It hasn't been hard, and now that it's just so difficult to read where that final circle is going to be. Of course, you can put in a little bit of homework, but you never know what the algorithm is going to be like, and now luck is just a factor that's so much more needed. And going back to the fact where today, and just like what it has been for the past 3 weeks of fighting the qualifier into the grand finals, every day is a brand new day. So if you've got the right kind of map sequences, you can build up this confidence really, really well, and you can keep it up all the way to the end. Or, the pressure could just make you buckle. Either way, we will get to find out as to how well Koda plays this next map, because based on what I know, it's not too shabby, but they do not have a Booyaka yet.
Yeah, but they do have a Brian Solara, which I think is already impressive as it is, right? The newest map, a lot of teams struggle on there, so step number one. Let's focus on some of our Indonesian teams. Here we have a head-to-head between 18 Dia and Rasya, RRQ versus EVOS. And the numbers, it's pretty interesting to see the difference in numbers, because for 18 Dia, you can see the eliminations, very, very close, right? Like fundamentally, the two players do the same thing, but for 18 Dia, he provides a lot more utility to the team compared to Rasya, which it's classic Rasya. That guy just clicks heads. Yeah, that's his job. That is his only job.
No, his job is, if it wasn't for Rasya reviving the players of EVOS again and again and again and again and again in all those matches at EWC, EVOS would not be the EWC champions as of this point of time. This guy is crazy. I'm surprised to see 18 Dia has got more revives than Rasya. I think the EVOS players aren't dying enough.
Maybe it could be the other end of the spectrum. It could be RRQ maybe dying a little too much, because we also have to remember, right, RRQ hasn't necessarily had the best, games.
That's a damn good point.
Yeah, so we'll see if that turns around at some point, which I think we're all kind of hoping RRQ kind of, wakes up. But game number one so far, it's not looking too good, but maybe game two onwards, who knows, maybe the Red Bull needs a couple games to sort of kick in. I know mine's already kicked in, so we're all Gucci over here. But on to Purgatory, folks, and at the moment, we've got Flash and Bigatron going in for a little bit of a hot drop, although it looks like Flash are looking to abandon ship as well. They say, nah, we don't want this.
Well, let's see exactly what Bigatron wants here. And Forge and Team Flash wants nothing of it. We need to loot up first, they say to each other, as they quickly try to split away from the Bigatron players, and it seems like the same thought echoes here as well. Everybody just focusing on the initial loot, which is a good way to take this.
I know yesterday we actually saw a lot of teams really focus on looting rather than shooting, which you might think is a bit odd for a battle royale, but what you have on you can really determine whether you come out of these fights a certain winner or potentially just getting knocked out. So I do like it sometimes to have some of these slower games, because then all of a sudden these skirmishes become a lot more tactical, a lot more calculative, because you need to be very wary of what your opponents have. And we got our first blood there.
Indeed, and now it looks like Bigatron up against Flash is going to be something that could just happen here. But some points on the ground, distracting them a tad bit, still finding the angles to work against Team Flash. Kyong doesn't have a lot of those glue walls, so needs to be really careful with this approach. And neither does Diggs, but they are desperate for these points.
Yeah, I guess what they're kind of hoping will happen here is they snowball with these eliminations, but I kind of feel like Flash are bringing them on a very long trip.
No, they're just buying time. Look at right behind them. Ezreal is going in for that long wraparound. So yes, very few utilities left here on the boys down at the bottom for Bigatron, but they're trying to flank around from the back to have an extra bit of advantage, maybe 2 extra points. So smartly played to catch up with that action in a bit as Virtus Pro tries to distract themselves. A little bit of action here, but they found the wrong distraction. Noki, beautiful knockdown, finding Diamond, the most lethal player in that CQC. And Virtus Pro getting knocked one after the other. Surprisingly, Toda still has the fire.
Toda? What is going on? Oh my gosh, I mean, they do buy back Diamond and Nameless. We'll have to check him out a little bit later on. But Deeks, not so lucky himself. And Kyong, he's been backstabbed as well. And Bigatron.
What?
Are they about to lose everything here and now?
How in the world do you pull off a long flank like that and still drop the ball, Ezreal?
AJ, you know, you said Bigatron.
Gee, brothers.
You said Bigatron were the ones pulling the largest flank in the world. I think Flash did it because they brought their whole team in.
I mean,
Oh,
how unfortunate.
around the world in 90 days, right there.
They went around and they just didn't find anything. Got back right where they started. Instead of turning their lives 180 degrees and walking the other way, they turned 360 and continued walking the same way.
I mean, at least they look cool doing it, I guess.
just for the grab.
Just for the memes. It's all good. Right, Virtus Pro. Man, Virtus Pro are really knee deep in here with Todak, which in any previous weeks, I would have just assumed that VP would be able to clean them up. But Todak, I feel like Todak's a trap today. Trap's going to try and play with Diamond here. Actually, with the shop. Time turning gets easy, just still drops. Diamond still drops to Traps. What in the world? What is this team on? I want some too.
Yeah, I mean, I am just shocked. What is happening to Toda? They are a whole new squad, and twice in a row now, they have taken out one of the most lethal players out of Virtus Pro. Diamond himself, and of course, granted, he just got revived at only the P90. He got crushed instantaneously as he took the drop right back in. Nero now tagged up and couldn't deal with much. Kyong thought he had outsmarted him by jumping out, but the FGL still finds you.
Yeah, not a great time to be a Bigatron fan here as after their fight with Flash, the team's scrambling to try to bring the entire team back, but I mean, they've run into PE, they still have Flash going after them, and Zol's just saying, okay, I got this, guys, we're going to take him out GTA style, tries to run him over with the car, but Dig should go down any moment here. Time Turner just buying him a little bit of extra time. Any time now, and here we go. Zom managed to clip Dix, and that's going to be it. Another point for Flash. 5 points, 5 minutes into the game. So, very good scoreline here for Flash. A point a minute.
Oh, Wang M just sneaking one away there. Beautifully done overall from Flash. 5 eliminations early on. And they try to wrap into the circle fairly late here. Nothing much for them to worry about as of this point of time. Just prioritizing the loot. They've got enough medkits to top their health right back up. But it's just the entry late into the circle that worries me a little bit. But if they can fight their way out of that, I guess that's a risk worth taking, Danny.
I think EVOS wants to go into that circle a little bit late. So the successful matches that we saw from EVOS yesterday, it was from games where they played more or less like this. No aggression in the early game, just focus on that loot and really just try to get themselves as geared up as possible before they start shooting at other teams. So as long as nobody sort of comes in and disturbs them whilst they're looting, we could be in for a very competitive game for EVOS this round. Speaking of competitive, at the moment, all eyes on Todak because this team, you know, game number 1, they've surprised, but even game number 2, they're still pulling out some surprises with some of the teams that they've been able to beat.
Yeah, I mean, let's see what Todak can do overall because they are on a flashy little performance as of this point of time. Solara technically is their best map. Purgatory is their worst map. So if they can find somehow a opportunity to sneak into that final circle, turn their fate around at Purgatory, we could actually see the Malaysian team finding the qualifier today. But of course, I think it's still a tad bit too early to speak of. It's just game number 2 here. Toda still has Virtus Pro to come across.
Oh, I think we just see a couple of Expand players flying into WAG, but we're going to look at RRQ here. We may see a couple of names on the kill feed in just a second. But at the moment, a bounty set on Nero from PE. So RRQ, I kind of wonder what the plan is for RRQ this round because they didn't have a great round number 1, but even then they don't really have so many great games. WAG finally running into Expand, and Rama from Expand first one to go down, followed by Tupass.
My God.
And bit of a bloodbath here with Expand players just absolutely cleaned up by WAG. Yeah, I think you kind of regret launching your team there.
I mean, so that was it's like shooting fish in a barrel. The next ball, just dangerous with the M79, just popped everyone and himself. He was the only player that got knocked down, but he was the one that knocked himself down. So WAG dealing with Expand fairly easily then.
Yeah, because Smooth as butter. Speaking of smooth as butter, we've got RRQ and Kagendra right next to each other, and they're both fully aware of the other team's presence, so trying to figure out what to do next if they want to leave that compound and maybe try and go for a fight. Speaking of fights, though, I don't know how, I don't know why, but Todax just continues to find Virtus Pro, and they're actually going to play safe this time. Okay, I thought they would maybe try their luck, but I think they're also realizing that if they push a little bit too hard, that everything that they've built, their sandcastle, might just sort of come crumbling down. So I do like this little safe play here for Todak. Just focus a little bit more on the loots whilst the circle doesn't hurt.
I mean, I think it's a fairly decent rotation for the Malaysian squad, understanding that they can tank the blue as of this point of time, giving them a safe pathway. But of course, luck will have to play its own role a little bit later on. Hopefully they don't find anyone on their way in. Nades back and forth, but mostly glue wall melters, so nothing to worry about in terms of the damage. And that Steffi being pulled is going to be a opportune timing here, but neither one's pulling it out. And PE Sports, Nolan just running through all of them and just bumping them down with the Trogon. Finally gets knocked down. Jonah has the ACD in hand. Can't go in for the save, gets himself knocked down, but it's not them, it's RRQ joining in.
RRQ's joining in as well, but so far for Bigatron, I think they're very appreciative of the extra hand that they had. And now for PE, they're going to try to eject themselves out of this fight, but LBT, can he get out unscathed? Is he going to get shot down? He's going to get shot like a duck into the lake and river as well. And that's going to be LBT out, but at least his team, they still have one man standing. They can try and go for the revives. Now Bigatron may have revealed themselves to a few other teams. RRQ is nearby, but also EVOS are on the other side of that riverbank, and they might be the next team to potentially clash with this Indonesian squad.
Bigatron just used their binoculars and scanned out all 4 players on the side of RRQ, so they know this is heavy firepower waiting for them if they take a straightforward rotation into this circle. But now has to deal with EVOS, who are fighting for their position. Bigatron wanting to back away from this fight. Riptide Rhythm does not go white, finds a couple of glue walls on the connection. Bigatron low enough, and WAG finding the finishing touches on the other end.
Oh, Courage are getting caught by Code Shield. Deek's going to try and get himself out of there. Bullets, they land at just the right time. And that's Bigatron out of the game. Deleted by EVOS. Very unfortunate. And now it looks like EVOS, their next battle is going to be up against Flash with Death. Going to be achieving imminent death unless these bullets don't connect, and that seems to be the case. So he's still bleeding on the ground, but you know, Aim God, this man's looking for blood. He's ready to find his next target. These blue walls, though, being a bit of a problem. And now Hong Am looking to front this for the team. And EVOS, I think are they trying to save resources? They're playing very iffy. I'm thinking of Death. They found him and isolated his teams all alone. They actually even dash onto him as well. They catch out Death again. Flash. Death can't catch a grip, but Ray ends up being dropped by the Zom this time, but all of a sudden it's going to be one down. GOW launching themselves towards the fight as well. We could be seeing a third party any second now. Koichio, his lands are not landing, but he's going to be the next one to go down. Aim God and Rasia, last 2 players left. Aim God down, but Hongam also gets caught. Shin going down to Rasia, and now it's a 1v1. AJ Hongam is going to go for the pickup onto Zom. Koichio and Aim God are still there, but I think Koichio might be picked up in just the right second. He will be caught though. Zom catching Koichio, and Rasia just going to have to go into survival mode, but does it matter? It doesn't. Zom cutting down EVOS's hopes and dreams.
My God, what a clash, and EVOS just couldn't step away from the ruthlessness of Team Flash in that engagement. 2 players still standing, good enough, but now how do they get into this next zone? PE Sports looking for it as well, as they do manage to scan out a couple of players on their right-hand side. Taking a straightforward approach is going to be fairly difficult as well, and Team Flash of all times is flying right in front of them. PE Sports stands close to no chance of making it.
Sometimes the best approach is the most dramatic one here, and being out in the open. This might just be a big surprise for some of these teams. Todak, though, looks like they've lost Vindles thanks to Exposy with a beautiful snipe there. And Todak, they do manage to get Vindles back up, so they still have their 4-man roster. But VP, if they knew who they were going up against, I think they would be absolutely motivated to remove this team from the game. And Todak still staying grouped up as well. VP as well, trying to save their glue walls. VP charging in with Nameless, but Nameless, can he find a connection onto anybody so far? They do find Noki. First one to go down, and Bindles as well. Guys, they've done it. They've broken through the team. That almost cut them down. Todak are out.
Oh, I mean, they tried the fighting route this time around, but they just came across some bigger fighters in Virtus Pro. Once again, the only Thai squad who has not qualified early for the grand finals may just be looking for exactly that by the end of the day. If I had a top 4, I would have squeezed them in Virtus Pro. They are in the perfect knocking spot now to tease WAG and together with Gagendra take them off the race.
Yeah. Now look at how small this circle is. So many teams in such a small area of golf course. I think the question we have now is what is going to happen next? So many teams occupying that top section, and the circle is going to shift more towards GOW. So all of a sudden, such little real estate and so many teams is going to get really competitive at the auction house today, AJ.
Oh my lord. Nameless. Be able to find a head X4. Very quick pickup coming on through from the side of WAG. Still looking for whatever they can rip away. Does manage to find one decent connection where it is Pro picking each other right back up. But this monster truck is not the perfect defense, and Virtus Pro just finding that out the hard way here. The blue has now left them high and dry with everybody taking their shots at them.
Oh man, WAG so focused in on getting rid of VP. Maybe Kagendra or Flash could be the ones to sort of flush them out here. And the blue is coming in, and WAG have to move themselves. They need to use their glue walls, and we do have Kagendra in that next building, but they might have to leave in a moment if WAG can somehow push their way through. VP will be taken out, and RRQ snapping themselves a bunch of eliminations on the other side as well. Now Kagendra sandwiched in between two teams. It's time to move. That circle is moving hard and fast, and Vanvo next one to drop there for WAG. Down to their last 2 players. It's Tikwe and Please One.
X4 once again making that mistake, but well played by Tikwe. Just managed to get the trip mine on the knock with another one on the M590, but unfortunate for them, just too much of pressure. And they do get eliminated by Kagendra and RRQ taking advantage from the back as well. Dian with a long-range gauntlet onto Ekal, and RRQ down by one man.
No.
The GOW not allowing them time to recover.
Okay, Duets, he needs to frontline for Ma'al, otherwise that's going to be it.
Wow.
But Duets, just one shot was all it was going to take for him to go down, and there was only so much Ma'al could do. With his frontliner down, GOW securing our second booyah of the day. And I have to say for GOW, they did get a tad lucky with that circle in golf course, because before that circle started moving in, almost everybody was fighting tooth and nail towards the top side of the circle. And GOW, they had a pretty easy entry from the bottom. They didn't have to really deal with anyone that contested with them pushing into that final circle. So GAW, you gotta play it patiently, and sometimes you need to be very, very slow, very methodical with your approaches. And I think the wolf logo really makes sense for the team this round.
Yeah, the theme of luck will continue, but of course, some of this luck out there manufactured by these teams. GOW just manufacturing fantastic luck at the final circle showdown with great positioning out there, and overall they will be able to climb the leaderboard quite a little bit. Not able to catch up with Toda just yet. They did get fairly deep into the circle